I guess just to start, were you just frustrated last night? Is that why you didn't want to do post game?
No, I just didn't think it'd be productive.
What do you think of obviously your guys' identity is what it is. When you see Joel jump in there to defend, I guess Travis, is that how do you see that play?
Yeah, those are tough spots because we talk about that all the time. As far as ganging up when you need to, I think there's got to be a little bit more patience sometimes when in that type of situation in the game. It's part of our problem last night.
He obviously, is a younger guy, but I know he's kind of taken a leadership role as one of those younger guys. Yeah, you go back to last year, Scott Lawton. Obviously, you guys keep him around because of the culture. Is one of the main reasons. How much is Farabee a part of that culture you're trying to build here with maybe being a conduit between the older guys and the younger guys?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking.
How important is he to the culture in your mind?
Yeah, Joel's played very well this year. He just can't score. He's ended up with chances. He's made some really good plays. He's not. I don't consider him a young guy here anymore. He's a guy that needs to help out in that. And I know he's helped out with some young guys when they've come in here. He's had them at his house, and that's an important part of his role. If you're trying to equate that to what he did last night, I'm not sure where you're going with it. If that's what you
well, he's trying to stand up. He's the guy that stands up for his teammates.
Very, very important part of who we are. And but I still think there's in situational play. Last night it was, and that's not the biggest thing that happened in our implodement. There are a number of other things that went on, and but that's a big part of what Joel is he leads by example. I think he's had a good year. His numbers don't prove it, but he's been doing a lot of good things for us as we've played the first 20, 25, 6, 7 games, whatever we have.
John, talking about the goaltending, when we spoke with you on Wednesday, you said that Sam was cleared. Did something change in the interim?
No, I don't even remember what the question. I don't even know how I answered it. Sam's still on IR, and we have a plan for Sam, and we're going to follow through with it. So that's probably my fault. I think, Kevin, you asked me the question. Yeah. But when I look at it, he's been practicing full with us. That's when I consider it an option. I don't. He's still on IR. Him and Jamie are still IR'd, and but there is an absolute plan for what we're going to do with Sam, and what that is, you'll find out as we go through it, as we finish it.
What went into the decision to make the goalie change at the end of the first period?
I didn't think he looked sharp at all.
John, you talked about the other day about learning how to play with a lead. Last night, was that kind of case in point that you guys are still figuring out how to?
Hard lesson, yeah. Hard lesson, yeah. We, 6:24, I think, and young player Bobby has got to understand the situation. He got away with it once. Attention was brought to it by the bench as far as the interference. Same exact play happens, and he does the same thing. It's just there's got to be a little common sense to come into play, and it's a hard lesson for him, and that's what kind of gets the ball rolling for us as far as us basically self-destructing.
They're two different games, obviously. They played out different ways, but the game last night and the game against Vegas, I believe it was last week, two games where you guys are playing against really good teams. Mm-hmm. You outshoot, outchance them, and then I guess when it gets to the key points of the game, things go wrong. Bradshaw last night basically said that, that's part of it, that we're just not on that level yet. We need to learn how to get to that level. Is that kind of what you see? Can you equate those two games as similarities?
Yeah, I don't even remember. I don't even remember the Vegas game. All I look is last night is I thought we have a really good quality in that room. Is they just don't give in, and they found a way to crawl back into it, take a lead. We're playing okay. We had some shifts. We're stuck in our end, but we still defend right, get a couple of good saves. We got to find a way to close it out. And it turns into, I think we get distracted with a bunch of stuff. We can't be sitting in the penalty box like we did in the last 7 or 8 minutes of that hockey game. it puts you in too much of a jam. So I'm proud of the team. I'm proud that they don't give, but we still have some lessons to learn, and we have a lot to learn in closing out games against really good teams.
I guess kind of going off of that, Kevin asked earlier about the Joel Farabee play and whatnot.
Yeah.
That is such a big part of your guys' identity, though,
Yeah.
in terms of standing up
Yeah.
for teammates and being together. I don't want to say if that's one of the drawbacks of it, but is that one of the challenges of focusing so much on that occasionally guys can go a little too far?
Yeah, and I'd rather reel them back in, right? I don't want us to be a team that's going to get pushed around. I don't like I watched it today. I don't think it's a really a bad hit. I don't. It's a shove, and I think we've got to be. We also have to understand where the situation of the game is. Sometimes being a team that's strong is to be able to take hits, to be able to handle those type of situations. And in such a long year, there are other opportunities if you think you need retribution. It's just and I don't want to condemn Joel. I don't, because I know his heart's in the right place. But it's a power play that's rolling. We know it's rolling. We had no answer for it. And we just couldn't be sitting in the box. Same thing with TK. I can't have TK in the box with all the stuff. That's what Florida does. They draw you into that, and they've got players that draw you in, and they don't. They always look to get retaliated on, and the guy that retaliates usually the one that takes the penalty. So I want us to keep our strength as far as helping one another, but we also have to understand what's going on in situational play. Situational play is not just in those situations, but just managing the puck, momentums of games when you're winning. Those are things that take a while for you to learn, especially with a young group. Those are the things that we're going to have to coach. But I'd rather coach a Joel Farabee down, maybe just fight another day and maybe retaliate another day, than having a team trying to force people to help one another out. So that's where we're in. I like where our team is in that way. I think we're very similar to Florida that way. I think both teams gang. If they see a guy in trouble, they gang up. And I want our team to be that way. But we also have to understand the situation. And it's stupid saying, you live and die by the sword, right? And we got kicked last night because we were just a little bit over-exuberant about it.
In regards to the power play, you had a power play goal last night, the first time in a couple games that you guys scored on the power play. And I apologize if I don't remember if Matt Bay had a chance to get to the bench or not, but he seemed to be out there with the second unit.
Yeah, he didn't change. He was on the far side. He didn't come off. And then we ended up having the puck because I was looking for him to come off. He really didn't have an opportunity to, and he makes a great play. So it wasn't. What do you ask me? Do I keep him out there for the 2 minutes?
Well, yeah,
No.
Are you open to that?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It just happened that way.
With Matt Van's learning process, is he the type of player that will come and ask you questions and initiate that conversation to try
No.
and you just let him go and do his own thing?
Oh, I let him do his own thing, but I also coach him. I've done quite a bit of coaching with him. But he's not looking to come in and to initiate a conversation, and I don't expect that for him right now. All the coaches, we spend quite a bit of time with him, coaching him, not, as I explained before, not right as a situation hits you, because it's hard. You don't have enough time. So we spend a lot of time in practice, after practice. I'll coach him, and I'll make sure Willie will go to him, make sure he doubles up on what I was talking about. But it's us going to him. But the kid is learning. He's learning. I watch him. I don't think he blocks the shot, but I thought he blocked it during the game, but I watched the tape today. He's right in the lane looking to block a shot. We have a certain way we play defense when it goes back to the point. I see him working at that. It's a little unconventional, as other teams don't do it. We're doing it, and he's picked that up. So that course, I love where that course is going with him as far as his willingness to listen and just the communication's getting better. But it comes from us to him.
With regards to
There's an idea that the Russian approach to things is to not ask questions because it's a sign of maybe weakness or they take that initiative to do it themselves. You've coached some notable Russian players. Is that your experience?
No, I've had Russian players that don't shut up and ask too many questions. I don't look at it that way at all. I think they're all individuals, and I don't want to. I think we have to be careful of Russians, Czechs, U.S. I think people are different. It doesn't matter, where they're from. I think people handle things differently and approach things differently, and it's our job as a coaching staff to try to coach them the proper way in helping them, not force things where it just doesn't work for a certain player. Like, I don't need to give you examples, but that's a big part of coaching. Is you just can't coach all the guys the same way. My job and my assistant coaches' jobs are to try to help the players. We got to try to find the right avenue and the right cadence or voice or whatever it may be to that specific player, and then coach the group.
With regards to going back to Mafe for a second, and Owen Tippett, you were pretty open in the beginning of the year that you were kind of trying to make that work. You weren't really seeing much in terms of how well they were working together. It seems like over these last couple of games, something's emerging. What do you think is allowing that to look much more productive together, that duo, than it did a month ago?
I don't know. I've kept them together here for a little bit because I've liked what the lines have looked like the past little while here, and I've kept them together. They score a couple last night. It's not always great, as it isn't with all other lines, but I feel. I think we stumble upon that. Kate's line has been pretty good for us. Kutz's line we've tried to keep together, and it just kind of fell into this place. And they found each other last night on a couple of broken plays, but there are still ups and downs with it. So why it works for a few minutes in the game, I have no idea, because there were some minutes in the game it wasn't working. So we just try to go with it, and we get a great turnover. I think Ekblad tries to flip the puck on Tip's first goal, hits Tip. And Mish he's just such a great playmaker. He is so patient with the puck. He makes really good plays that way. It comes to him and he just waits it out. So it just happenstance there. Some of the shifts, they weren't good shifts. So we're just going to keep on trying to find our way and keep on trying to score some goals.
John, in terms of that line, then there was the game against the Rangers, I believe it was. They only had like a 4-second shift in the last 12 minutes of the game. Because there's a little bit of a risk-reward kind of thing with that line, and you shorten your bench a lot, especially in third periods. Are you maybe a little more hesitant to put them out there when you do have the lead because there's
We're still working with Mish. Yeah, we're still working with Mish, and quite honest, we're still working with Tip. Tip has struggled this year with reads. Frosty has struggled this year with reads, and so when it comes to when you have a lead there, I want to make sure we try to close the door and not get tied. And like last night, there were some matches where I didn't really like Frosty's line against any other line other than Nosik's line. I put them up against them quite a bit last night. I didn't like them against Bennett. Barkov, no one can handle Barkov's line. And the other line there with Lundell, that's a pretty good line too. So I kind of matched, and it puts Frosty's line into a situation that played against their fourth line. Not all night, but that's what I was kind of looking for. Situationally in games, when you're trying to close it out, I'm going to go with some people that I know are going to be sound defensively. And there have been some struggles with that group, those three, throughout the year that I've just got to make sure I'm picking the right spots to put them in those third periods in those type of situations.
I was just going to say, not to belabor the thing with Farabee, but talk about time and place for that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Is that something you would approach him about, or do you think he just naturally understands?
No, Joel understands, and I'm not going to talk to the team. I haven't talked to the team. I was going to have a meeting today about just some of the things that went on. I'm not going to because I think sometimes they can converse. They know what happened, right? And I'm going to focus on the good things. I thought we hung it out there, and it was like the whole building was going to turn on us there when we were losing so quickly. And I thought we hung in there, and that's what I love about the group. I'm proud of the way they handle themselves against a really good team. And we blew up, self-inflicted. That's the frustrating part for me. It was self-inflicted, but we're going to learn our lessons from it and try to get better in those type of situations.